Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to take a look at 20 stupid mistakes that I often make while playing the game. Now for those of you who don't know, not really the sharpest tool in the box, to be honest with you. Even though I make some pretty cool redstone circuits and I occasionally create some really awesome redstone contraptions, for the most part, I'm a little bit on the silly side. For those of you who watch my Hermitcraft series, you will definitely know that this is the case. Occasionally my brain just doesn't work particularly well. So in today's video we're going to take a look at 20 mistakes that I often make while making these videos, and I think you should end up finding it quite interesting. This first one is something that quite a few of you have noticed. When building with stone, cobblestone or stone bricks in creative mode, I tend to pick the monster egg variant. I don't know how this happens, but I seem to be hardwired to go into that menu and pick those instead of the regular ones. Now this is a bit of an issue because if we set ourselves into survival mode and break one of these blocks, obviously a silverfish pops out, which isn't particularly brilliant, but if we punch this silverfish, then of course all the other silverfish start popping out, and not only have you now got a silverfish infestation, but also your entire build has just dismantled itself. I mean, that's terrible, isn't it? All your hard work has now just completely disappeared. So frustrating. Having Frostwalker 2 and Fire Aspect 2 at the same time. I mean, it's just infuriating. You attack a zombie, you get set on fire, that's not particularly brilliant. You try to put yourself out in the water, and then of course the Frostwalker kicks in, and you're unable to do it. It's infuriating, and I've almost died so many times on Hermitcraft because of this. There's a chance it's just me that does this, but I often remember to bring my bow, but forget to bring any arrows. My bow on Hermitcraft has infinity, all I need to do is remember one arrow, and I can't seem to be able to do that. It drives me mad. When I'm working really far away from my base, I tend to quickly craft up a bed so I can sleep through the night, reset my spawn and get rid of all the mobs. Then when I wake up in the morning, I tend to actually break the bed, which is never a particularly good thing, because that means that now if I die, I'm going to spawn right the way back over at the spawn chunks. I'm going to have to travel miles to get back over here. Not thinking particularly well. Not keeping track of the durability of my tools. I tend to go through a lot of pickaxes on the Hermitcraft server, and I have broken a whole bunch of them despite the fact that I've got mending on them. Elytra are also just as bad. There's been a few times on Hermitcraft where I've been flying through the sky and then suddenly dropped out of it. Thankfully mending has sort of helped that situation, but it's still a bit of an issue. My Elytra ran out! My Elytra ran out! Oh my word! Building my most complicated redstone circuits out of woolen things, even if those redstone circuits involve lava. Now this took me a while to realise. I couldn't work out why my unbreakable wall had stopped working until I noticed that the entire bottom half of the circuitry had completely burned up and I hadn't made a backup of the world, which wasn't a particularly good start to my day. In fact, not backing up your redstone worlds is definitely a stupid mistake that I frequently make. I often build my redstone contraptions out of either slime blocks or TNT, both of which can cause massive issues very quickly, and if you don't have backups of the world, you can destroy them. For example, these giant holes in my redstone testing world, these were once redstone contraptions. I have no clue what they are, because as you can see, they've completely disappeared. As I'm sure most of you remember, I found out on the Hermitcraft server that if you press space on a ladder with Elytra equipped, you sort of drop off the ladder and head straight towards the floor, which can be extremely lethal if you've got very long ladders. Found that out the hard way. Accidentally placing a piston next to a very fast redstone clock. Now not only does this make a horrendously loud noise, but also it's very difficult to break the piston due to the fact that it turns invisible as it extends and retracts. Now this also means that you end up breaking the entire environment around it before you actually manage to dismantle the thing. I use cauldrons quite a bit in my redstone circuits. I also have to shift click on quite a few things to place them next to one another, and I often end up shift clicking my water into my cauldrons, which doesn't go very well. I mean, there are no words to describe just how painful that is, especially in survival mode, and especially in a redstone circuit as big as this one. Now don't get me wrong guys, I absolutely adore Efficiency 5 Haste 2. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to Minecraft. It's fantastic. The only thing I will say is that the number of times I've tried to break just one block and end up breaking 50 million of them is really quite high. I don't know if I'm just like ham-fingered and I'm just not particularly good at pressing the left click button, but I can't be the only person that's suffering from this issue. Thinking to myself, oh, I just need to chuck away a few items, and going into one of the nearest chests, throwing all of them in, and then thinking, yeah, I'll probably remember that, I'll pick those up at some point in the near future. Never will I ever see those items again, and I will never remember where they are. It's just a simple fact of life. Speaking of throwing items into chests, the number of times I've just cleared out my entire inventory, just got rid of all of that useless stuff. Yeah, we don't need any of that. Chucking all these items in, and also chucked in my food, then ran away to somewhere very distant, is quite high. I generally discover it about halfway through the journey and think to myself, I don't honestly know if I'm going to be able to make it back alive here. It happens every other day. Now, as you guys probably know, Hermitcraft is a multiplayer server. That's what we're standing on right now. There have been a few occasions where I've pressed escape, and obviously the game is still playing, but I haven't thought of that. I have walked away and come back to see that my player is dead. Now, thankfully, I've got used to this over the years, but in the early days when I was first starting out on the server, and I hadn't really done multiplayer before, I died a lot through this, and I lost a lot of items. It was infuriating. After hours upon hours of gathering villagers, you have finally managed to get them all into one spot, and they're all in their nice little chamber, entirely made out of glass, and you think to yourself, oh, this block right here, it needs to be solid so that I can run the minecart in. You break the block, and then of course you can't place in the solid block, and there is absolutely nothing you can do to place in that block. You're just going to have to deal with it. I can relate to this far too well. I'm sure all of you remember it happening on the Hermitcraft server. Starting a redstone project with an inventory that looks like this. I mean, you've got a bunch of stuff in there that you just really don't need. I don't even know how you've managed to acquire that. And you're definitely missing something. You've got 2 stacks of comparators, but no repeaters whatsoever. You've got no sticky pistons when I'm meant to be building a piston door. How's this going to work? It's not going to work because I haven't prepared anything. I'm an idiot. Going AFK with all of my items on me. Now, I know this place is meant to be safe, but occasionally things can go wrong, and this was reminded to me the other day when a zombie actually managed to get in here. Despite the fact that I cleared most of my items away, I still had all my armor and all of my most important tools on me, and if I had died, would have lost all of that. And I don't fancy getting those elytra again, because that would be my 3rd time losing them, and that doesn't make me very happy. Now look, I've got a lot of melons, okay? I've got 36 double chests of stuff. There's no denying I've got a huge quantity of melon in my storage system, and also I've got 2 massive melon farms that seem to work extremely efficiently. But melons are still awful. I mean, I'm never going to eat them because they're just terrible. You seem to spend half your time eating and half the time running out of melons, so you have to go and gather more of them. It drives you nuts. Beacons are brilliant. I mentioned this earlier in the video. I love Efficiency 5 Haste 2, one of the best things that's ever happened to Minecraft. Only thing is that beacons need skylight access to work, and I've got a gigantic flying base that I often forget is there. You can probably see where I'm going with this. There's been a lot of times where I've placed down my beacon, I've built the entire pyramid, chucked the beacon on top, the beam hasn't come up, I've sat there scratching my head for a little while, then I've looked upwards to see that it's directly under part of my base. Circles are pretty difficult shapes to build in Minecraft simply because, well, we've only got blocks to play with. I mean, this is like as far from a circle as you can possibly get. So trying to build a circle freehand is always going to be a recipe for disaster. I mean, I'm trying my hardest here and it's just not going well, is it? And for the final mistake of today's video, mistake number 21, is forgetting how many mistakes I was meant to put in this video. How many was it? I think it was 20 actually, so I've totally got that wrong. But anyway, ladies and gents, I hope that you enjoyed this one. Of course, you guys probably make more mistakes than I do, so let me know what those are down in the comment section because I'd love to hear them. But unfortunately, ladies and gents, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.